Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1490. Whew, getting up in those numbers. We've got updates for you on Sparkles and Zephy because it's all been, you guys keep sending me lots of messages, private messages going, how's Zephy? Have you got Sparkles? You know, what are you doing with Sparkles? So here's the updates. You asked, you're getting them. I have to say, I am so proud of this puppy over here. She has been outstanding in the last week since she had her surgery. She came home on Thursday last week. No, hang on. Thursday, which will be a week tomorrow. Sorry, a week tomorrow. It's only Wednesday today. Jeepers. See how stressful my day has been. But she came home last Thursday with her back leg or her back left leg all bandaged up. She never really went after the bandaging, which was surprising. She figured out how to walk around with it with the bandaging on, and we had a little bootie that we would put on to keep it dry and clean whenever we went outside for a walk. And she never went after the bandages on it at all, but she learned to jump and land with 3 legs. So she would jump up with holding her back leg up and then put it down when she landed. And then when she jumped down, she'd do the reverse, hold her back leg up and jump down and land on 3 legs. And it was just amazing just to watch her do that adaptation and figure it out for herself. Because a few times she'd like look at her chair, and so I'd pick her up and put her in the chair. And then the next thing I knew, she jumped down and she was back up in it again. And so I watched her, and that's what she did. And then on Monday, we took the bandages off, and she was under strict instructions that if she was caught licking her back leg, she would be wearing the cone of wellness. We're keeping a positive light. We're calling it the cone of wellness because in order for her to get well, she needs to have the cone on, if that's the case, to stop the temptation. Not the cone of shame. That's bad. No, we're looking at the cone of wellness. And so Monday, she spent 3 hours with the cone on because she got caught. Since then, she has not had the cone on her. That was Monday, and it's now Wednesday. So she has gone 2.5 days without the cone. At night, I get one of my ankle socks, and I just slip it onto her leg, and I've got some medical tape that I just wrap around the top of it, wrap around above and below the incision, and in the morning I just take it off. And she's happy to walk around with that on when we go to bed and things like that, because it means she doesn't have to wear the cone and she's not tempted to lick it if it's covered. So I am super, super proud of her. And we spent most of the weekend at the RV and Sparkles getting it ready to move and everything else. We got everything that was out loose or packed and brought over to the house, thanks to the neighbor loaning us his pickup truck with the cover of the canopy on the back. And then today I went over there. I ran over yesterday to try and start it and kickstart it off the house batteries, and it just went work. So I turned the key again. Work. That was the only note it made. Work. That was half of a whir. And so I went back over today. So that was yesterday. I went back over today, and I had the day off work because I needed to get this thing sorted out, and I needed to get it going. And so we called Good Sam Roadside Assistance. They finally, after some mucking around and some confusion and everything, finally sent somebody out, and they got and by the time, put it this way, by the time they came out, I had my upper cabinets in the living room area empty and packed and ready to go into the car. And I had my little pile ready to go into it was actually a bootload, trunk load. For those that don't know what a boot is, a trunk load of stuff that went into the car. And there was also stuff in the front seat as well, and some stuff tucked behind the front seats. But it didn't disturb Zephy because she has a sling thing that comes down off the back of the front seat, across the seat, and then back up of the back seat. And so she's kind of in this little hammock thing, but it means that she can't fall down between the seats either. So she's fully enclosed and protected, and has a buckle and has her harness on with a buckle on it so that if anything happens, she can't go flying. And she sat in the back, and she laid down in the back there and went to sleep. It was hot. We were low 80s inside the RV. It was 110, feels like 114 outside today at the highest temperature. We were starting to get up there. And the idea was that we'd get the RV up and running, would pack it, would pull the sides in, pull the feet up, pack up the utility stuff, like actually the sewer hose and the water hose. I'm just going to toss them because they've been there for 2.5, over 2 years and stuff, and they can just go. And then I've just got to pack away the water softener and the power cord. And then I also have to check the tire pressure, and I've got out my tire pressure gauge. See, it goes to 160 pounds per inch. And if I remember correctly, my tires are somewhere between 100 and 120 on the tires that I have to inflate them to. So I have my little inflator, and I think my neighbor might also have an air compressor as well. So yeah, I got a little portable one, which is supposed to go up to 160. So we'll see how we do with that. But yeah, we got some of that stuff done. Opened up the kitchen cabinets to see what I needed to take out of there, and found a hand beater that I have, an electric hand beater. I don't have an electric mixer at the moment, and I'm sort of like, because I can't wait to get my electric mixer and do some baking and that sort of stuff. And I'm sort of like, no, I have other things I need to concentrate on first besides baking. So I brought home the hand mixer and figured, if I'm going to do any baking, that's going to have to do. And if it doesn't do, then we don't get. So we're just working on that. But so the guy came out. He had he had this device over his shoulder. It was like about this long, about this wide, and about this high, and it had a couple of cables coming off it. And I'm like, that's what he's going to jumpstart my RV with? I mean, he pulls up in a regular car, and I go, okay, I wasn't expecting a car. I was expecting a tow truck. And he turns around and says, yeah, it's just too hot for the truck. And he has this thing draped around his neck. And I'm like, is that the thing for jump starting my RV? Is it? And he goes, yep. And I was like, okay. It was just this little box. And I was sort of like, oh my gosh, how's that supposed? So he gets a hook and he says, okay, go and try it now. And so I tried the key once, it didn't work. So I tried it again, and it caught and started running. And I was like, yes, thank you. I don't need to get a new battery, which was awesome. And so I went out to him, but I found out it was a Costco battery. So now I know where to go get the battery from. And so I went out and thanked him for getting it started and all of that sort of stuff. And I said, so how long do I leave it running? And he says, well, actually, you're supposed to drive it around for about 30 to 40 minutes to an hour and he starts rattling off all these name parts and all that. And I looked at him, and I looked at the side of down the side of the thing with the bedroom thing popped out. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon. I said, because there's just a little too much that needs to be done right now. It's going to be about 20 to 30 minutes before we would even be ready to get on the road. And so it's like, okay, so it says, just make it like about 30 minutes. And he says, and then you should be good to go. He says, if it doesn't start tomorrow, just give us a call back. And I was like, well, what device did you use to get this thing started? And so he said it was a 6,000 amp jump starter. He says you can't buy them in the stores. He said the only place he's ever seen them is on Amazon. And he said this thing will start anything. And I'm like, okay. So while the engine is doing all of its running and everything else, I packed up the car. I even turned the engine on. I put Zephy in the car because it would be cooler in there for her after I got it all packed. And by the time we got the car packed up and I got everything else done that needed to get done, closed out blinds and curtains and everything else that I had opened, ready for travel because I was expecting to do it that day. And then I thought, well, I'm going to pull the slides in tonight. Let's see if we can get the slides in. And so I pulled the slides in as well. And they came in beautifully, like you'd only been there at the site for a night or two. And the slides came in beautifully. And I was like, yes, thank you. So everything's going right so far. So tomorrow when I go there, all I need to do is to actually get us on the road is I did dump my tanks today, but I may do another dump tomorrow because I want you to have empty tanks when you go in there. But I definitely want to fill up my water tank, my fresh water tank. So I'm going to fill that up tomorrow morning. So we'll fill up the water tank, check the tire pressure, put the wheel covers away, unplug the power and put that away. Inside is already, actually, no, I've got to put the cutting board in the sink area. I did turn the fridge and freezer off tonight. I turned it off and I put some towels in there to soak up all the water because there is ice in there that needs to be melted. And I didn't have time to get in there with the ice scraper and scrape it all out. But by the morning, we will have no ice in there with the heat that we have. But when you're storing, you don't have the power to run the refrigerator and freezer anyway. You just leave them propped open. So I have all that set up for the defrosting tonight. We'll see how that goes. So I've got towels in there to catch all the water dripping so I don't open up and come in and there's water all over the floor or anything like that. What else did we do? So I got everything basically ready to go. So tomorrow it's just going to be, there's one box down on the passenger's foot. Well, that has to go into the car. I didn't have room for that tonight. So I got to put that in the car, and then got the site already, got the booking done at the storage facility. The storage facility is all undercover. So just like a carport, but it's an RV port. They got 15-foot high ceilings on these things, and every bay has a 110 outlet, so I can plug it. So you can plug in a battery trickler. So I know I have to go get a battery trickler, but I'm not going to hurry about that too much. Although I will get it within the next couple of weeks. And then what else do we have to do? Oh, so we've got that ready to go. I already know the site number. They've already activated my gate code. But they haven't told me yet what hours their gates are. The office opens at 9 o'clock. And I'm like, well, what time do your gates open? Because I thought I saw them online, but I can't find them anywhere on their website. And so I'm going to go and have another look, but I'm pretty sure it's around 7. So I said, the neighbor came over like 2 o'clock because the guys still had not arrived by 2 o'clock. And so we've arranged for tomorrow morning. He has to be back at his place by 9:15. I says, right, I'm going to be over here like around 6:30 in the morning. We'll be ready. We should be ready to head out between 7:30 because he gets up early like me. I said we should be ready to go around 7 at the absolute latest, 7:30. And if it's only just him following me down in my car or in his truck, then that's fine. And then we'll go back to the campground and I either drop him off or I go back to pick up my car, whichever way we decide to do that. But yeah, it's all systems go. So check the tire pressures tomorrow. Tire pressures. We'll be checking the tire pressure when we get there tomorrow, filling up the freshwater tank, and then making sure that the complete inside is ready to travel and that the site is clear before we leave. And we'll do a run over to the trash with the sewer hose and the water hose because they're done. The water hose is so stiff and hard from all of the sun that it sits in, and I try to get it in the shade as much as I could, but it doesn't quite work that well when your faucet is sitting in this full sun. Yeah, if you ever want hot water in an RV in summer, just turn on the cold tap and you will get as much hot water as you want coming through because the pipes get so hot. The hoses get heated up and all of that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, so we're ready to roll over to the new storage facility tomorrow. And we'll let you guys know tomorrow how that went. But at least I'm going to have somebody following me in a vehicle. So if anything happens, I've got assistance with me as well for that. So Zephy gets to ride in the RV again. She hasn't done that in over 2 years. So that'll be fun. And one thing we were talking about yarn yesterday. We did the yarn stories. Remember the yarn stories from yesterday? So I had to show you this because I showed you a partial roll of this particular yarn. And when I was unpacking the cabinet, I came across this thing, and it looks like this. And this is actually another blanket in that neon yarn that I've been working on, which I had totally forgotten about. I even have my crochet hook here. But this one is already a good size. So I finished the last ball of yarn on this one. But you can see it's a little different from yesterday. But it's trying to see how far back I can go. Got a towel behind the thing for Zephy. But this is this one, and it's big enough for a child's blanket, but I want to make it bigger. So I found in another part of the RV, in the other guy, so in the overhead cabinet. So this was in one overhead cabinet. It was actually for some reason sitting on top of the printer, my portable printer, which I couldn't really use in the RV. So I actually, I found this today, and I found 2 more balls of yarn to go with that, plus my partial from yesterday. And so I'm going to use up these 2 balls plus the partial from yesterday to complete that blanket. And then I have the black to edge it when it's done. So how much bigger this is going to be, I don't know. How many rows around I'm going to do in black, at least 2, possibly 3, but we'll see how it looks after 2. If 2 looks fine, we're done. If it looks like it needs another row, then we will have to put another row on there. But I have a couple of balls of black to edge it. So that's going to be kind of fun to get that one finished. And I had fun last night just sitting there crocheting that green, was it that one I showed you yesterday with the blues, the greens? No, oh, cheapest one. I don't remember what colors was in it. But if you missed out yesterday what we're talking about with these bright colors and the story behind the bright color blanket and hat, you'll need to go back and watch yesterday's podcast, because there's a story that goes with the neon of a blanket and a hat that I did, and how it ended up being given to this particular person who is no longer physically with us in this world. They've transitioned to the next plane. So you have to go watch that one, because that one's all about yarn stories and everything else. So that's it from us for tonight. That's the update we have. Like I said, Zephy's doing really well. Sparkles will be in her new home tomorrow at the storage facility. And the cool part is not 50% off for the first month. I'm like, yes. So that was really cool to get that taken care of. And I was talking with my neighbor, and he says, oh, we went to this particular place and they wanted like $400. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. And he says, and I'm not even sure if we would have fitted on the site. And I turned around and I told him what I was paying on this one. He's like, really? And I says, yeah. And they now have a dump station, and they have the 110 outlets at every bay. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, that's such a great deal. So even at full price, it's a great deal. But I got 50% off for the first month. I'm like, yes. So that was kind of exciting. So that's the updates for now. We're out of here. Zephy and I are both completely and utterly exhausted from today. When we went over to the RV this morning, I took over my 128-ounce water bottle, and I took over her half-gallon jug that I have. Or was it a 1 gallon? It's one I usually take to the dog park with us, and I just undo the lid and she can just drink straight out of it. But I cleaned it all out and all of that. And so I filled it up with water with a little bit of ice in it, and filled her water bowl up with it. I forgot to take food for her, though, so she was not happy with me about that, and had something to eat when we got back home, because her breakfast was still in her bowl. But I've finished off the 128-ounce thing, bottle of water, and this is a 32-ounce, and I'm already onto my second one of these for the day. So this is my second one. Yeah, this is my second one for the day. So I've had a lot of water today. And my mouth feels like sandpaper. It has been a very hot day. When we got home, I was drenched again, and I was like, oh, I'm going to take a shower. And then I'm going to be taking Zephy for a walk in 3 temperatures. Actually, maybe not, because I only got to 110 today. So how quickly is it cooling down today? Really? I got to put a password in. You don't recognize this beautiful face? Let's see, what's it at now? Oh, it's still at 108. So it'll still be triple digits when we head out for our walk tonight, which means we'll come home drenched again, even if we're only out there for 10, 15 minutes, because I'm only allowed to give her short walks. But I will tell you about this one. This is how smart my dog is. You've already heard some of the wonderful stories about her way of figuring things out. So this is another thing she has figured out. She has figured out, even though we're supposed to be doing short walks, that we walk longer if she holds her poop in longer. So the more she walks, so if she wants a long walk, she doesn't poop until she thinks it's time that she can turn around and go back home again. So that is my dog. She'll pee all the way on the walk, everything else, but she won't poop until we're like 10 minutes into the walk, and now we're going to do a 10-minute walk home again when we're supposed to be just going out for 10 minutes total time and going back home again. So she'll walk for 10 minutes before she poops. And then if I turn around and say, okay, we're going home now, then she'll just turn around and happily trot off home. And she trots. She will not walk. She trots. So those are some of the challenges I have with a high-energy, smart dog when she is recovering from surgery and is supposed to be doing short walks, not trots. And, they said, just take her out so that she pees and poops and take her back home again. No extended walking, no nothing. And I'm like thinking, yeah, you don't know my dog. Oh, so she's quite funny. Yeah, the longer she can hang out, the longer she can hold the poop in, the longer walk she gets. But I've cottoned on to her game. So when I say, okay, we're going to this point up here that you can see, and if you haven't pooped by then, we'll turn around and walk it home. So you're either going to have to hold it in all night, or you're going to have to do it sometime between now and when we get home. And usually she does. So she knows that I've cottoned on to her. But anyway, that's it. We're out of here. Go have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. And we'll be able to update you on how it goes tomorrow morning with moving sparkles to the storage facility. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully we'll be on the road by 7:30. We should be down at the storage facility like around 8. I'm thinking it's like around 8. Yeah, no, we should be there no later than 8, and it shouldn't take us long to park. I'm usually pretty good with backing up, and if I've got Mike there, he'll probably help back in as well. So, which will be good. Can you hear that noise? She's dream eating. She was dream eating. So yeah, so we should be done at the we should be done and back at the campground by 9 at the latest, which means I'll be home by like 9:30, which will be awesome. And then I might catch a snooze before I have to go to work at 12. But anyway, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hei konera.